Okay, Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. We come to the end of the chapter for Fundamental of Management. So part of the 4 basic functions in management, the last one is controlling. So chapter 13, we will discuss on controlling work and organizational process. So in this chapter, you should be able to explain the nature and importance of control, and then describe the 3 steps in control process, then discuss the types of control organizations and managers use, and finally, what are the contemporary issues in control. So first, let we explain the nature and importance of control. So what is control actually? So control is a management function that involves monitoring activities to ensure that they are being accomplished as planned and correcting any significant deviation. So remember at first, the 4 basic functions of management is planning, and then organizing, and then motivating, hiring, and then control. Yeah. So control is in a sense that we look back at what has been happening and whether the things that happen is actually according to what has been planned for the organization. Yeah. So how do we know that a control system is effective? It is whether the goal has been achieved or not. Yeah. So we take a look at the importance of control. So exhibit 13.1 showing the where is planning and also the controlling actually merge together, or the link between them. Yeah. So basically the planning uh, should be the first one in any organization, setting goals and objectives, what are the strategies and plans to achieve the goals, and then organizing the structure and human resource management, and then leading, uh, where we take a look at motivation, leadership, communication, as well as behavior of individuals and groups, and finally the controlling, where we already have a standard and what are the measurement that we should use to control, uh, and then comparing what has happened and what is actually we trying to get, and then action. So in control process, there are 3 steps involved, whereby the first one is measure the actual performance. Okay, so the plan, what is it that we want to do, and then when the actual performance has been done, the organization should measure the performance. The second step would be to compare actual performance with standard. Yeah? And then the third one is taking managerial action to correct deviations or to address inadequate standard. What does it mean by deviation? Deviation means uh, the things that happen is not the way that has been planned earlier. Okay, so this is how basically the control process happen, whereby the organization set the goal and then they set a standard of what should the employees do and what managers should be supervising. Yeah? Then when at the end of the day, or at the end of the year, um, the actual performance is being measured compared to the standard that they has been set. If there is a deviation or performance is not the way that the organization want, so this is the action that the management should take. Yeah. So, to determine actual performance, a manager must get performance record. So the first step in control is measuring. we want to measure what is actually has been performed. So some of the sources of information to measure performance is personal observation. Eh? So what is personal observation? So personal observation provide the first-hand, intimate knowledge of unfiltered actual activity. So a manager just walk around and observing their employees, talking to them, uh, looking at the way employees doing their work. So basically that can be used as a measuring performance. But there is also disadvantages of personal observation whereby some employees might not like personal observation like this, or probably the manager have uh, some kind of their own perspective which leads to bias. Yeah. So other sources of information is statistical reports. So using a statistical report to evaluate the performance of uh, the employees under the manager. The third one is oral reports. For example, if the employees have been presenting, yeah, they go to conferences, so that kind of things can be considered as oral reports. And the fourth one is written report. Written report is uh, the employee prepare a written reports of what he or she has done, their performance, the target and the actual performance, things like that. So it also can be the source of information to measure performance. So basically, uh, each one of these sources might have advantage and disadvantage. So what managers can do, they probably use more than one source of information to make the evaluation. So there are another thing which is the criteria for measurement. Selecting the right criteria to measure is important for evaluating performance. What to measure actually? Um, uh, so what managers measure is probably more important to the control process than how they measure. Yeah? Uh, so some control criteria are applicable to any management situation because all managers direct the activities of others. Criteria such as employee satisfaction, yeah, or turnover and absenteeism rates, these kind of things can be measured. So keeping costs within budget is also a fairly common control measure. So, however, any comprehensive control system needs to recognize the diversity of activities among managers, which means a production manager, for example, project production manager in a paper tablet manufacturing plant, for example, might use measures such as the quantity of the product being produced per day, um, uh, the product being produced by each of the labor, how many excess rate, percentage of rejects products by customers. This kind of thing can be used as a measure of performance. However, for example, for marketing managers, they probably use a different measure, such as how much the percentage of market they have captured, number of customers visit per salesperson, a number of customer impression per advertising medium. So a different kind of managers will provide a different criteria for measurement. So next come the step in which we can compare the actual performance to the standard. Yeah? Although some variation in performance can be expected in activities, uh, it is critical to determine an acceptable range of variation. For example, so the blue area is the standard, which means, for example, for a salesperson, he or she needs to generate 10 sales per month. Okay, so within that range. If let's say the performance is achieved within the standard, so it's being put under the blue line. If let's say the salesperson unable to achieve the sales uh, set by the target, so basically it will actually go outside, put in the pink column here. So this is the acceptable lower limit. So below here is the unacceptable lower limit, and then the above one is unacceptable upper limit. So if let's say they sell less than the target, so it will go to the pink one. So the manager can notice that this particular employee performance is below the standard. See, vegetable plants, there is a standard here and then the actual one. If let's say the sales is below the standard, so it's basically in negative one, so it's under standard. If the sales is exceed the standard, then the manager can be able to capture here. So if we take a look at here, the some of the plants below and some is higher than the standard. So if the manager look at this, they can do action in terms of ordering a lower for vegetable plants and increase the order for annual flowers. So this is one way that managers can do to make control. So what happened? What happened if let's say the performance uh, is not achieved to the standard being set? Yeah? So the managers can choose among the three possible courses of action. The first one is do nothing, where it's self-explanatory. Yeah, the second one is correct actual performance, or the third one is probably the standard is too high, so they need to revise the standard. So between that, the managers can opt whether they can take immediate corrective action when the problem arises, or they can take a basic corrective action whereby they make research first. Why is the performance is below the standard, and then only action being taken. Okay, so revising standard is one of the way that um, uh, after comparing the actual performance with the standard, the managers can also take a look at the standard whether it is too high. Yeah. Uh, uh, if the standard is set being too high, so no employees can achieve the performance. Yeah? So if let's say the standard is too low, all employees are able to achieve the performance more than being set by standard, so managers can opt to either setting the standard a bit lower or setting the standard a bit higher. Okay, then what are the types of control organizations and managers use? Okay, the timing of control, when the control actually take place. So basically we learned earlier that in management there is input whereby planning, yeah, the process when the work is being done, and then the output when the performance has been when the job is done and performance is measured. So control can be taken in any stage of the process. So during the input time frame, the managers can do feed forward control, what we call feed forward control. Yeah, when the activity is not started yet. Yeah, while the activity is going on, managers can take concurrent control, whereby they correct the problem as they happen. And finally, when the output is already there, managers can take feedback control, whereby the manager can correct processes after the activity has been completed. Yeah? So, the most desirable type of control, feed work control, which means uh, they take the control in the earlier part of the processes. However, during this time, not much information can be gathered, so it's kind of difficult to anticipate the risk that will happen later during the processes and output. Yeah? Okay, another control, especially for financial control, yeah, managers can use different kind of analysis, such as financial ratios, to actually check and balance whether their financial performance um, has achieved to a certain standard, whether they have enough profit, whether they have been setting the price correctly, or things like that. Yeah. So besides financial ratios, managers can use budgets, yeah, for both planning and controlling process. Another thing that managers need to control is the information that exists in the organization. So we probably uh, are very unclear on what is information that exists in organization. So information in organization is um, a lot of things. Yeah, dia punya record, and then apa ni, orders, um, data of employees, yeah, that kind of things is information. When it becomes too much, they have a lot of employees, they have a lot of processes, they have a lot of range of products, so they need to keep track all the information. So organization can use management information system to actually help them control all those kind of information. Yeah? Since information is important, for example, a record of employees uh, that already work for so many years. Yeah, so all the data is information, which is very important. So keeping track of employee performance is also important. This includes assessing whether employees are doing their job or not, whether they are doing the job as planned, as targeted, do they meet the goals? Yeah. If not, employee counseling or employee discipline may be needed. Another way of control mechanism is keeping track with a balanced scorecard approach. So, balanced scorecard is a name given to a system where managers can set four things: financial, customer, internal processes, also people, innovation, growth, asset. Yeah? So, from these four areas, managers should develop goal for each one of them, and then at the end, they measure whether the goal for each areas has been met or not. Yeah? So according to this approach, um, managers can keep track not only certain element, yeah, uh, but the four element in here. And then the final one is discussion on the contemporary issues in control. So cross-cultural differences. So we have talked a lot in previous chapters how cross-cultural differences is um, quite challenging to handle, yeah, including control. The importance of control as a managerial function cannot be overstated. Um, Workplace, the cross-cultural differences. Okay, the differences among organizational control system in control organizations are found primarily in measurement and corrective action step of the control process. For example, in a global corporation, yeah, a corporation that exists in many countries, yeah, managers of foreign operation tend not to be closely controlled by the home office, which in turn often relies on extensive formal reports for control. So the global company may also use information technology to control work activities. Um, so organization in technologically advanced nation, they use indirect control devices, particularly computer-based report and analysis. Yeah, in addition to standardized rules and direct supervision to ensure that activities are going as planned. However, in less technologically advanced countries, direct supervision and highly centralized decision making are the basic means of control. So, controlling technology usage. So, we know that technology has helped us in our work environment a lot, but technology usage also can be misused in the workplace. Yeah? For example, for the question, is my work computer really mine? Can do can you do personal things in the office computer? Yeah? Do I have a right to privacy at work? Some employers will actually monitor their employees using camera, using tracking their emails, tracking their messages, to see whether employees is doing something not aligned with organization. So 68, um, based on the survey, 68% of employees admit to using company computers to check personal activities. In fact, a survey of US employers said that 87% of employees look at non-work related websites while at work, and more than half engage in personal website surfing every day. Yeah? So that is the truth, whereby when we do work, even as a student, right, in class, when they feel sleepy, then they surf the phone. Yeah, they look at the phone while the teachers in front giving the lecture. So the same goes to organization. So at the end of the day, the performance should be measured, yeah, um, whether that employee has been performing and effectively doing their work. Yeah? So in the meantime, whatever they do to actually keeping them sane, yeah? And helping their mental well-being in the workplace. Uh, Employers also have to consider that. Okay, so Controlling workplace violence. Um, we might heard like sexual harassment in the workplace, bullying, things like that. So, what managers can do uh, from the three step, uh, uh, the feed forward when the action has not been taken yet, the feed forward, some of the things that managers can do, like ensure the management's commitment to functional, not dysfunctional work environments, provide employee assistance program, enforce organizational policy at any work rage, aggression, or violence will not be tolerated, things like that. Never ignore threats. eh, Train employees about how to avoid danger if a situation persists. mm, And clearly communicate policies to employees. So if let's say in the work process, the concurrent, using managing by walking around to identify potential problems. What does this mean is that managers visit their employees in their workplace and uh, looking and observing them. Mm? Allow employees or work group to grieve during periods of major organizational change. Be a good role model in how you treat others and all those things. So the final one is giving feedback when the output is already there, is communicate openly about violent incidents and what's being done. Investigate incidents and take appropriate action. Review company policies and change if necessary. So this is the kind of control that managers can do in an organization. Control is important so that whatever has been planned earlier is being achieved. If it's not being achieved, then certain action is being taken to make the corrective action. So with that, that is the end of our lesson in fundamentals of management. I wish you all the best. Okay, good luck.